Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to a very special edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. And today I am going to be taking a look at the very extensive and impressive catalogue from one of the finest musicians to ever come out of Japan. And I've been a huge fan of this lady for a lot of years. And when you hear her, you know straight away who it is because she has a very distinct and recognisable sound. And I'm talking about, of course, the one and only pianist, keyboardist, bandleader and composer, the lovely and very talented Keiko Matsui. And Keiko Matsui first burst onto the scene in the mid-80s, and she's collaborated and played with just about everyone, from Cosmos to Kazu Matsui to Bob James to Jason Miles to Mariko Tone to Akira Asakura to Kirk Whalum to Euge Groove to Peter White, you name it. Keiko Matsui has played with them all, and as I've mentioned already, she has a very distinct sound, and she is very heavy influenced by sounds of Western and Eastern music, and she also dabbles into the smooth jazz, new age and atmospheric genre of all styles. And what can you really say? Keiko Matsui is one of the most popular and respected artists of all time. And for today's special edition, we are going to be taking a look at her very long and extensive catalogue of albums, including live albums, soundtracks, you name it, it's all there. And we're going to cover the entire catalogue. And as always, I'm going to be talking about each album individually, and I'll be choosing which album I think is the best one. And before I get started, Keiko Matsui has no bad albums in her catalogue. Obviously, of course, some albums are a little bit better than others, but they're all different, they all stand on their own, and they all have their own identity. And what we have here is a magnificent collection of music, in my opinion. So, we are going to start with the first album, which came out in 1987, and it's not an album that gets talked about much, but I quite like it, and this is her debut album, A Drop of Water. So this is her debut album, which came out in 1987, and the copy that I'm holding here is a reissue, so it's got like one bonus track. And as you'd expect from someone as talented as Keiko Matsui, lovely collection of songs, very laid back, very typical of the 80s, but still, when you hear her, you know straight away who it is. So we've got Ancient Wind, Light Above the Trees, Harbour Wind, Mediterranean Sand, the title track, A Drop of Water, From My Window, Only Way Home, Fairy, Paper Spirit, and the bonus track, which is a solo piano piece, Mystic Dance. It's a beautiful album. This is an album that pretty much set the tone for what Keiko Matsui was going to be all about, and it's a magnificent recording, as you'd expect. And it's a reissue, so it's quite easy to find. So we've got Keiko Matsui on keyboards, we've got Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards, Grant Geisman on guitars, Nathan East on bass, Vinnie Carlotta on drums, Michael Fisher on percussion, and we've got Kazu Matsui on shakuchuchi, which is kind of like a pipe sort of instrument. So, and we've also got some guest appearances from Brandon Fields and other musicians as well. And we've even got Carl Anderson, who sings on a couple of tracks as well. So it's a beautiful album, as you'd expect. Nothing but absolute elegance and class from Keiko Matsui. So standout tracks for me are the bonus track, Mystic Dance, Paper Spirit, Ancient Wind, Light Above the Trees, Mediterranean Sand, and A Drop of Water. And it's even got a guest appearance from Robin Ford as well. So it's a beautiful album, and as I said, worth buying the reissue for the bonus track, and quite easy to find. So there you have it, A Drop of Water. This is Keiko Matsui's debut recording. Excellent album, and not one that I go back to much, but when I do, it just continues to blow my mind each and every time. So there you have it, A Drop of Water, lovely album. So we move on to the next album, and this came out in '89. This is Under Northern Lights. So pretty much in the same style as the first album, but still a lovely album nonetheless. So we've got the title track, Under Northern Lights, Mountain Shakedown, Secret Forest, The Morning Moon, As Far as the Eye Can See, The Runes on Sonora, Highbrow Country Affair, Walls of the Cave, Flight of the Angels, and The Gates. Beautiful album. As I said, all Keiko Matsui's albums are quite lovely, very laid back, a lot of them. And she's a very melodic sort of player, and it's very pleasing to the ears, her music. So we've got Robin Ford, Brandon Fields, Eric Marinful, Steve Holtzman, Mark Hatch and Clay Jenkins, Art Rodriguez, Michael Fisher, Judd Miller, Carlos Vega, Leland Scala, Teddy Castellucci, Gary Stockdale on additional keyboards. So there's an all-star collection of names on here. It's a lovely album. You know, it's a really good album. So the standout tracks for me, I would say, are The Gate, Walls of the Cave, As Far as the Eye Can See, which features Howard Smith on vocals. The title track, Under Northern Lights, Mountain Shakedown, Secret Forest, and The Morning Moon. But again, just like with all Keiko Matsui albums, there's no bad album. They're all lovely, very well produced, very well written, and Keiko Matsui's got a very nice sound on piano and keyboards. So there you have it, Under Northern Lights. Beautiful album, and a nice follow-up to A Drop of Water, in my opinion. So there you have it. There you go. So we come to the next album, and this came out in 1990, and this is No Borders. So as I said, you know, a lot of the early albums are pretty much typical of the time, so it's got some influences of the 80s to the 90s, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the music is still very well produced and well written. So we got tracks like The First 4 Years, Light in the Rain, The White Corridor, Mover, The Wind and the Wolf, which is a lovely track, In the Mist, Free Silhouettes, Kappa, Water Elf, Souvenir, and Believer. It's a lovely album, this is. It's a very good album. So musicians we got here is pretty much the same collection of musicians that have appeared on the couple of albums. Got Eric Marinful, Carlos Vega, Freddie Washington Jr., Paul Jackson Jr., Carlos Vega, Nathan East, Derek Nakamoto, Lenny Castro, Tom Walsh, Pat Kelly, and we've also got Clay Jenkins, Bill Armstrong. You know, there's a lot of big names on here, and of course Kazu Matsui, and we've got Phil Perry on vocals as well. So the standout tracks for me are In the Mist, Free Silhouette, Kappa, Water Elf, The Wind and the Wolf, Believer, and The First 4 Years. It's a really good album, and you know, she doesn't look that much different, to be honest. She's still as lovely as ever. So there you have it. No Borders. Again, nice follow-up to the first two albums. And as I said, it's pretty much in the same sort of style of what smooth jazz was like back in the late 80s to the 90s. So there you have it. No Borders. So we come to the next album. And this came out in 1991. And this is Night Waltz. Not an easy album to find, but it's definitely worth a listen to. As I said, it's very hard for me to find this recording, but it was well worth the search. So we've got the title track, Night Waltz, Moonlight Sailor, The White Gate, Eyes Were Made to Cry, Hope, Lake of the White Owl, Where Wildflowers Grow, Grey Cliffs, and Seagull. It's a beautiful album. And as I said, Keiko Matsui is a great composer, and she's got a very distinct sound and a way of playing. So we've got here Bernie Drezel, Bruce Stone, Ron Comey, Gerald Albright, Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards, and Greg Walker on vocals on some tracks, and John Cross on saxophone, and Michael Fisher. So this is near enough a set band, almost. And we've got Tom Rotella on guitars as well. I like Tom Rotella, he's a brilliant guitar player. So standout tracks for me are Night Waltz, Moonlight Sailor, The White Gate, Birth of My Mind, Eyes Were Made to Cry, Hope, Where Wildflowers Grow, and Grey Cliffs. But it's a really lovely album, and all the songs are written and composed by Kazu Matsui. So it's all Keiko Matsui's music as well, and Kazu Matsui writes a few songs as well. So there you have it, Night Waltz. Lovely album this is. So we come to the next album, and this came out in 1982, and the copy that I've got here is a reissue, and this came out, as I said, in 1982 and reissued in 2003, and this is Cherry Blossom. So as I said, this is a reissue with one bonus track, and again, another lovely album from Keiko Matsui. All her albums are beautiful, well recorded. So we've got Rainy Season, South, Walking on the Bridge, Crescendo, She Prays to the Wind, title track Cherry Blossom, Frontier, Front Steps, Dawn Opener, and Crescent Night's Dreams, which is again a solo piano piece. So it's a lovely album, as you'd expect from Keiko Matsui, absolutely sheer beauty. So we've got Gerald Albright, Lenny Castro, Ed Smith, Brad Cumming, and Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards. So it's pretty much the same lineup of musicians that are featured on the early albums. So the standout tracks to me are Crescent Night Dreams, Dawn Opener, Frontier, Cherry Blossom, She Prays to the Wind, Walking on the Bridge, South, and Rainy Season. Lovely album. So there you have it. Cherry Blossom. Beautiful album. So the next album would come out in 1994, and this is again a reissue with some bonus tracks, and this came out in 2003, and this is Doll. So this has got 3 bonus tracks, and they're all solo piano pieces, and they're just beautiful. They're worth getting just for the bonus tracks, I say. So we've got Bronze Casting, Moroccan Ashes, the title track Doll, Water Lily, Voice of the Heart, 1942 from Russia, which is one of my favourite tracks, Postponed, Summer, Eye of the Moon, Funny Things, Sympathy, and we've got the 3 bonus tracks, Water Lily as a solo piano piece, Doll as a solo piano piece, and The Morning Walk as solo piano. Beautiful album. Love this. And I'd probably say that this is virtually the same lineup of musicians. So we've got Keiko Matsui on piano and keyboards, Philip Bailey on vocals, Molly Pastuti on vocals, Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards, Fernando Saunders on bass, Warren Hill on sax, Eric Merenfall on sax, Michael Landau, Tom Rotella, Akira Jimbo, Bob Wackerman, Lenny Castro, Louis Conti, Clay Jenkins, Steve Holtzman, Susie Katamaya, who does play cello and does string arrangements. But it's a lovely album this is. So the standout tracks for me are, one second, the standout tracks for me are the 3 bonus tracks, Water Lily, Doll, Morning Walk, 1942 from Russia, Postponed, Summer, Eye of the Moon, Funny Things, Sympathy, and Doll, the title track, the original. So there you have it. Doll. It's a lovely album, and one that I do sometimes go back to listening to. But the thing about Keiko Matsui's albums, they continue to get better and better. So as far as I'm concerned with these early albums, she was just warming up. So there you have it. Doll. Beautiful album. So as we would move along here, we would come to the next album, which was released in 1985, and this is a reissue that I have, and this is Sapphire, which has 3 bonus tracks, which are solo piano pieces, and as you would expect from Keiko Matsui, another beautiful album. So we've got Safari, Bouncing, Bougainvillea, Sonora, Don't Turn on the Light, Mission, Garden, Tears from the Sun, Spanish Galleon, Dragon Wings, the title track Sapphire, and 3 solo piano pieces, which are bonus tracks, The River, Longing, and Sapphire, the title track. Beautiful album. Really good. And as I said, the reissues are worth buying because you get like bonus tracks. So we've got Carla Bonoff on vocals, Valerie Carter also on vocals, Keiko Matsui on piano and keyboards, Rob Mullins on additional keyboards and drum programming, Paul Taylor on soprano sax, Lenny Castro on percussion, Michael Fisher, Akira Jimbo on drums, Marco Dido, Kazu Matsui, Derek Nakamoto, John Patitucci, and Abraham Laboral. So some big names here. So the standout tracks for me are Safari, Sonora, Don't Turn on the Lights, Mission, Garden, and the 3 bonus tracks, which are the solo piano pieces, which for me are like the highlights of the entire album. So there you have it, Sapphire, another beautiful and elegant album from Keiko Matsui. Love this album. So we would come to the next album, which was released in 1996, and again this is another reissue which came out in 2003, and this is Dreamwalk. So once again, Dreamwalk, just like all the other albums that I have, we've got 3 bonus tracks which are all solo piano pieces, and this is a lovely album. As I said, Keiko Matsui has never really done, as far as I'm concerned, a bad album. So here you have it. So we got the title track, Dreamwalk, Bridge Over the Stars, which is one of my favourite tracks, Children of the Oasis, Fire in the Desert, Mask, Presence of the Moon, another favourite track of mine, Tribal Boat, A Cat on the Chimney, Passage, Valley, and we've got 3 bonus tracks which are Flower, Tribal Boat, and Light Above the Trees, which are like solo piano pieces. So beautiful album this is. So let's have a look. It just doesn't age. So the band we've got here is Paul Taylor on saxophones, Bernie Diesel on drums, Alan J. Astin on midagran, Molly Pasturi on vocals, Kazu Matsui on shakuchuchi, which is like a pipe instrument, which I mentioned earlier, and Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards. And we've also got Rob Chichali on additional drum programming. So it's a really good album, this is. It's not one that I go back to often, but it's a lovely listen. So there you have it, Dreamwalk. Standout tracks for me are the 3 bonus tracks, which are the solo piano pieces, Presence of the Moon, Tribal Boat, and Children of the Oasis, and Dreamwalk, the title track. It's a beautiful album, and it's quite easy to find the reissues. I would say just get all the reissues just to get the bonus tracks, because they're well worth buying, I think. So the next album would come out in 1998, and this is a Japanese edition that I've got here, and this is Full Moon and the Shrine. So this album's got 3 bonus tracks, including a new version of 1 track, but very hard album to get, but it's worth buying from Japan to get the 3 bonus tracks. So we got Nighthawk's Dream, Steps in the Night, Bonfire in the Piano, which is one of my favourite tracks, Southern Crossings, Legend of the Trees, Full Moon and the Shrine, Spirit at the Corner, Toward the Sunrise, Forever, Forever, which is a beautiful track, probably the best track of the entire album, Meadow, Hope, which is a new version, Presence of the Moon, piano solo, and Hope, which is again performed as solo piano. So lovely album this is. We'll have a quick look. If you buy the normal edition of this album, you won't get the bonus tracks, so highly recommend you buy the Japanese edition. So here she is. So we've got Paul Taylor, Bernie Drezel, Kazu Matsui, Derek Nakamoto, and Molly Pastuti, and some additional bass samples from John Patitucci, Abraham Labor, and Marcus Miller. And as always, all the compositions are written and composed by Keiko Matsui. She's a brilliant composer, and she knows how to write a song. And a lot of her music, I would say, is very pleasing to the ears, and it's perfect to just, you know, chill out and relax and maybe have a nice drink or something. You know, it's very relaxing and uplifting music. So the standout tracks for me are Hope, the bonus track, Presence of the Moon, the bonus track, and Hope, which is the solo piano piece, which is the bonus track, and Forever, Forever, Bonfire in the Piano, and Towards the Sunrise, and Full Moon and the Shrine. Lovely album. So as you go through Keiko Matsui's collection of albums, she's starting to change. So at the beginning it was very much like jazz fusion mixed with smooth jazz, a little bit of new age in there, but it was very typical of the times. But as you get towards the 2000s, she starts to move away from the jazz fusion, smooth jazz sort of style of music, and she's starting to head into more like the new age atmospheric sort of style, and it works. It really, really works, and that to me is where she really came into her own. So there you have it, Full Moon and the Shrine, lovely album. So as we move along here, the next album would be released in '99, and this is Keikomatsui's first live recording, and this is simply called Keikomatsui Live. So as I mentioned, this is her first live album. This is live at Arcadia Santa Monica, and for me, Keikomatsui is at her best live. You know, I love all the studio recordings that she's done, but to me, live is where she's at her very best. So we've got Keikomatsui on piano and keyboards, Chris Conangelo on bass, Greg Riley on saxophone, Jonathan Dressel on drums, Jinshi Ozkai on guitar, Ricardo Tiki Paseles on percussion, and Kazu Matsui on shakuhachi. So it's a beautiful album, and this is a Japanese edition. So it's all songs from Keikomatsui's career and her albums, with 2 bonus tracks, which are Rainy Season and Garden. So we got Doll, Moonlight Sailor, Kappa, Bridge Over the Stars, The White Gate, Under Northern Lights, Forever Forever, Against the Wind, Bonfire in the Piano, Safari, Light Above the Trees, The Wind and the Wolf, Wolves of the Cave, and as I mentioned, the 2 bonus tracks, Rainy Season and Garden. So it's a lovely live album this is, and to me this is where Keikomatsui is at her best. So there we go, top stuff here. And you know, I've never actually seen Keikomatsui live. I've seen a few films. You know, she's incredible, and I hope one day I do get to see her, because I'm long overdue to catch her live, and I hope it does happen one day. So there you have it, Keikomatsui live, brilliant stuff. Standout tracks for me are Forever Forever, Against the Wind, Bonfire and the Piano, Light Above the Trees, The Wind and the Wolf, Rainy Season and Garden, and Doll. So, brilliant album. And as I said, there are better live albums than this, but this is still worth checking out. And this is the Japanese edition. So there you have it, Keikomatsui live. Brilliant album. One well worth checking. So, the next album, now this is an unusual one, because this is very hard to find, and I'm not really too sure a lot of people know about this, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. So it's well worth checking. As I said, hard to find, but it's really good. This is a film soundtrack for an anime movie. I've never actually seen it. I've seen pictures of it. I've heard some conversations about it. It took me a lot of years to find it, but it's a really good film soundtrack. And as I said, if you can find it, buy it. It's beautiful. And the film that she provided the score for, this is called Hidamari no. So this came out in 2000, and it's a film soundtrack of the same name, and Keikomatsui plays all the piano and all the keyboards. So it's a very obscure album, very hard to find, but it's a lovely album. Really good soundtrack. So all of the music is written and composed by Keikomatsui for this movie. Very, very hard to find, so have a look. There you go. And most of the songs are in Japanese, so it's going to be a bit of a mouthful to pronounce them all, but you've got tracks like Hidamori no Ki and tracks like that, but they're all in Japanese. But as I said, it's a lovely, lovely album. It's a really good soundtrack, and even if you've never seen the film, I mean, I've never seen it, but I might try and find it one day, but it's well worth buying. And this is the only film soundtrack that Keikomatsui has actually done in her career, as far as I know. But this is definitely something that she should dabble into more, because she can write a film score. And the thing with this soundtrack, it's not your typical cinematic, bombastic sort of recording like Hans Zimmer, which I love Hans Zimmer to death. It's nothing like that. It's very relaxing, very pleasing, and you'd never know this was a film soundtrack. It just sounds like your typical Keikomatsui album, and it's just beautiful. So there you have it, Hidamari no. So if you can find it, buy it. It's a lovely album. This came out in 2000. Very difficult to find, but well worth buying. So we would come to the next album, and this came out in 2001. And now by this point, Keikomatsui has fully gone into new age sort of style of music, so there's no more like smooth jazz sort of style of music. This is just full on new age, and it's very similar to the legendary Yanni, so it's very similar to that. So this is Whisper from the Mirror. Beautiful album. This to me is where Keikomatsui really hit her peak, and she made some beautiful music in the 2000s as far as I'm concerned. So we've got the title track, Whisper from the Mirror, Invisible Wing, Tears of the Ocean, Between the Moons, Beyond the Light, Touches on the Earth, Dimensions, Savannah, No Problem, Midnight Stone, See You There, Ever After with Bob James, and Trees. So it's a lovely album, this is. Quite easy to find, I would say. Quite easy to find. The Japanese reissue is not much different, and it's pretty much Keikomatsui on piano and keyboards, Derek Nakamoto on keyboard, additional keyboards, Bob James is on one track, and Kazu Matsui on Shaku Achuchi on the long pipe. So this is pretty much a solo effort from Keikomatsui. So she hasn't got any other musicians. There's a couple helpers out, but this is just all Keikomatsui. So there you have it, Whisper from the Mirror. Standout tracks for me are Whisper from the Mirror, Invisible Wing, Between the Moons, Beyond the Light, Savannah, No Problem, Midnight Stone, See You There, Ever After with Bob James, and Trees. It's a lovely album, and as I said, the 2000s period of Keikomatsui's catalogue is just beautiful to me. So there you have it, Whisper from the Mirror, well worth buying. So the next album would come out in 2001 also. This is a Japanese issue with the bonus track, and this is another favourite album of mine from the New Age period of Keikomatsui, and this is Deep Blue. So just like the title says, it's a very deep album. It's a very haunting, atmospheric kind of album, and it's just beautiful. It's just a really beautiful album. Keikomatsui made a whole series of New Age albums during this time, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. And for me, this is my favourite period of her catalogue. So we got the title track, Deep Blue, Tales for the Tribe, Across the Sun, Trees, Mediterranean Eyes, Rose in Morocco, Moonflowers, Crescent, Light Dreams, To the Indian Sea, Mystic Dance, Midnight Stone, Deep Blue, which is like a stripped down version of the title track. It's just absolutely gorgeous album, this is. Love this album. Huge fan of her music. Love this. So all the compositions are written and composed by Keikomatsui. It's mainly Keikomatsui on piano and keyboards, Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards and a little bit of programming, and Kazu Matsui on shakuhachi. So standout tracks for me are Deep Blue, Water for the Tribe, Across the Sun, Mediterranean Eyes, Rose in Morocco, Moonflower, Crescent's Night Dreams, Mystic Dance, and Deep Blue, the bonus track. But, you know, these are pretty much all of like Keikomatsui's well-known songs, just played more like stripped-down versions. But it's one of my favourite albums of her catalogue for the New Age period. So, 1 second. Yeah, it's a really good album. Quite easy to find, but the Japanese reissue is where it's at, as far as I'm concerned. So there you have it. Deep Blue. Highly recommended. If you like New Age, this is the one for you. Buy it. So there you have it. Deep Blue. One of my favourites. So we've come to the next album, which also came out in 2001. And this is pretty much the same album, Deep Blue, but this is more like all the same songs, but just played on solo piano. So there you have it. Really good album. As I said, it's pretty much the same as Deep Blue, but it's just played as solo piano with no electronics or keyboards or programming. It's just a really lovely album, this is, and one that I go back to quite a lot. So as I said, you know, it's pretty much the same tracks. Not really much to compare to, really, but I like it. It's just, for me, I love Keikomatsui with the band, but to me, solo piano is where she's at, as far as I'm concerned. So, standout tracks for me are Deep Blue, Water for the Tribe, Rose in Morocco, Moonflower, Crescent's Night Dreams, To the Indian Sea, Mystic Dance, and Midnight Stone. So, Lovely album this is. So we'll just have a quick look while we're here. There you have it. Lovely album. And another one that I go back to quite a lot. So there you go. Deep Blue solo piano. So we would come to the next album, which was released in 2002, and this is again a Japanese edition. This is The Ring. So this has got 2 bonus tracks, which are solo piano pieces, and again another lovely album from the New Age period of Keikomatsui's career. So we've got Steps of Maya, Venice of the Sea, Moon Circle, Prism, The Next Plateau, Messenger, Daiti in the Silence, The Ring, White Owl, which is one of my favourite Keikomatsui songs of all time, Precious Time, The Next Plateau, solo piano, and Prism, solo piano. So it's a really good album. This is one that I listen to quite a lot. And as usual, all songs are written and composed by Keikomatsui. We've got Keikomatsui on piano and keyboards, Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards, percussion and bass programming, Kazu Matsui on shakuhachi, and Alberto Di Alma on flamenco guitar. It's just really lovely album this is. As I said, you know, there's some additional musicians, but this is all Keikomatsui as far as I'm concerned. So standout tracks for me are The Ring, White Owl, The Next Plateau solo piano version, Prism solo piano version, Moon Circle, Steps of Maya, and Venice of the Sea. Beautiful, lovely album. Love it. So we'll come to the next album. This is another one of my favourites, and this is Keikomatsui, The Piano, which came out in 2003. And as I mentioned already, solo piano is where Keikomatsui is at, and she doesn't disappoint. So this is kind of like a continuation of Deep Blue solo piano. These are all Keikomatsui songs stripped down and played on piano. A little bit of keyboards on there, but this is all acoustic piano. So we got Presence of the Moon, Water Lily, Whisper from the Mirror, Between the Moons, Light Above the Trees, Dull, Beyond the Light, Trees, Forever, Forever, See You There, Dawn, Distance, Be With Me. So we got like 3 bonus tracks. Really, really good. This is really good album. Look. To me, this is where she's at, as far as I'm concerned. Solo piano. So standout tracks for me are Trees, Forever, Forever, See You There, Whisper from the Mirror, Presence of the Moon, Water Lily, Dull, Beyond the Light. But I just love the whole album from start to finish. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and definitely Keikomatsui at her best. So there you have it, The Piano. So we would come to the next album, and this came out in 2003. This is a double live album. This is CD, DVD, and this was my first official exposure to Keikomatsui and her music, and it's probably my favourite live album of all the live albums that she's done. This is called White Owl. So the first time I became aware of Keikomatsui, my dad recommended her to me. She said to me that, you know, if you like new age music or keyboards or piano, highly recommend you check out Keikomatsui. So I went on YouTube one day and I found a live concert, which was this, White Owl. And I thought, I'll listen to one song, see what I think. I ended up watching the whole show. That's how good it was. And she just blew me away. She had all these keyboards on the front of the stage, and she had like a big grand piano at the back. You know, it's just an unbelievable show. And it reminded me so much of Yanni. It was just absolutely beautiful. The band were great. The songs were great, and it wasn't like smooth jazz. It was just like new age music. It was just very, very uplifting and very, very beautiful. So all of these songs are all like from Keikomatsui's catalogue of albums. Some songs from Safari, from The Doll. So there's a bit of everything on here, and it's just a really good show. So let's have a quick look. The DVD is just mind-blowing. And so the band here is Keikomatsui on piano and keyboards, Michael Geegan on saxophone, who's got a big part on this album, Jonathan Dressel on drums, Alberto Di Alma on guitar, and guest appearance on Kazu Matsui on shakuhachi. Beautiful album. This is a great live album. This is probably my favourite live album of Keikomatsui. So there you go. Really good. I'd say the highlight of the live show is the solo piano tracks, which is Precious Time, The Next Plateau, and Forever Forever. But the other tracks are good as well, like White Owl, Doll, The Wind and the Wolf, Light Above the Trees, and Moonlight, Sailor, and Steps of Maya. So it's a really good live album this is, and it's definitely worth buying to get the DVD as well. So there you have it, White Owl, which is a track from The Ring. So I think this is the tour of that album, but really, really good. It's live in Tokyo. So we would come to the next album, and this came out in 2003. And this is kind of like a compilation album. Think of like a best of, semi-best of. So it's all Keikomatsui songs reworked and redone with new arrangements. And this is called Spring Selection. So this is a Japanese edition. So these are all Keikomatsui songs just redone. And it's a lovely album. And it's got Tribal Boat, Water Lily, Bridge Over the Stars, Valley, Water Fairy, Presence of the Moon, Grey Cliffs, 1942 from Russia, one of my favourite songs, Bouncing, Bougainvillea, and Believer. It's a lovely album, it really is. Have a quick look. There's not really much to see, but yeah, it's good. So it's a really good album. As I said, it is an album, but it's kind of like a best of sort of recording, sort of songs redone. So I would say favourite songs of mine are Valley, Water Fairy, Presence of the Moon, Grey Cliffs, 1942 from Russia, Believer, and The Tribal Boat. Lovely. It's a good album this is. So we've come to the next album. This came out in 2003 as well. This is a Japanese edition. This actually came out in 2004, but this came out first in Japan. This is called Wallflower. So this has got 2 bonus tracks, and again, this is Keikomatsui at her best. New age period still going on here, and very uplifting and very lovely, haunting music. So we've got Flashback, Facing Up, Sense of a Journey, Brand New Wind, Eldest of All, Reflections, White Castle, Temple of Life, Seeker, Stone Circle, Wildflower, the title track, Facing Up, which is a solo piano piece, and White Castle solo piano, only exclusive to the Japanese edition. So good stuff here. Here we go. So pretty much same collection of musicians. So we got Akira Jimbo on drums, Kazu Matsui on shakuhachi, Shinobu Ishihachi on soprano sax, Masamichi Nanji on soprano sax, and Tomohito Ako on bass, and Keikomatsui on piano and keyboards. And we've also got Derek Nakamoto on additional keyboards and arrangements, and some other musicians as well. So standout tracks for me are Facing Up solo piano, White Castle solo piano, Wildflower, Stone Circle, Temple of Life, White Castle, Reflections, Eldest of All, Sense of a Journey, and Flashback. Good album this is. Like I said, some of her albums are quite easy to find, but at the same time some are quite hard to find, but they're all worth buying. So there you have it, Wildflower. Love it. So the next album came out in 2004. This is a compilation album, just like the Spring Selection. This is called Summer Selection. So again, just like Spring Selection, this is all Keikomatsui's well-known songs, all played and reworked as new versions. So we got Rainy Season, South South, Free Silhouette, Midnight Stone, From My Window, Moonlight Sailor, Souvenir, Garden, Secret Forest, Uncharted Summer. Lovely album this is. As I said, it's kind of like a semi best of, but all the songs are just reworked, but still definitely worth buying. So standout tracks for me are Midnight Stone, which has got a nice little beat to it, Moonlight Sailor, Souvenir, Secret Forest, Uncharted Summer, and Rainy Season. Brilliant album this is. They're all worth buying really, but there's no bad album in this catalogue. So the next album would come out also in 2004, and this is a CD DVD edition, and this is called Walls of Encandora. So I've got 2 bonus tracks, Walking Through It and Gentle Sands. It's got a DVD as well of a concert, so it's really good. So I've got Overture for the City, Crystal Shadow, Mountain Shakedown, Canvas, Encandora's Clock, Walking Through It, Blue Butterfly, Gentle Sands, the title track, Walls of Encandora, Bay of Destiny, and the 2 bonus tracks. So it's a really good live album with a DVD. Nice. There we go. Normally, I always say that maybe this album's weak, but there's no weak albums. And I would say each album continued to get better and better. So the standout tracks for me are Walking Through It, Gentle Sands for 2 bonus tracks, Bay of Destiny, Walks of Encandora, Encandora's Clock, Canvas, Mountain Shakedown, Crystal Shadow, and Overture for the City. Brilliant album this is. The DVD's worth buying for it as well, so it's really good stuff here. So the next album would come out in 2005, and this is solo piano, all Keiko Matsui, just playing all of her famous songs on piano. And this is called Compositions. So we got White Castle, Trees, Mystic Dance, Precious Time, Crescent's Night Dreams, The Next Plateau, Midnight Stone, Beyond the Lights, Prism, Forever Forever. So these are all just Keiko Matsui songs performed as solo piano. It's really good. It's really good. This is a lovely album. So there you go. Yeah, I like it. It's good. As I said, Keiko Matsui is at her best on solo piano. I think for me that's where she's at. Nothing wrong with her playing in a band. That's good also, but solo piano is definitely where it's at. So there you have it. Compositions, favourite tracks of mine, Crescent's Night Dreams, Midnight Stone, White Castle, Trees and Mystic Dance. Good album this is. Another hard one to find, but still worth buying. So the next album would come out in 2007. And this is a Japanese edition with a bonus track. And this is called Moyo, Heart and Soul. You can buy it, but I'd highly recommend the reissue. The bonus track from Japan. It's really good. So I got Moyo, Heart and Soul, the title track, A Great Romance, Into the Night, Caritas, An Evening in Gibraltar, When I Close My Eyes, After the Rain, Allure, Black River, Old Potch Road, Novo Dia, which is A New Day, Maula, and When I Close My Eyes, which is a township version, bonus track for Japanese edition only. So it's a good album. Really good. Doesn't get talked about much, but it's very good. So standout tracks for me are A Great Romance, Into the Night, An Evening in Gibraltar, When I Close My Eyes, After the Rain, Black River, and Old Potch Road. And the bonus track, When I Close My Eyes, the township version. A lovely album this is. Really good this is. Quick look. There's not very much to see, but yeah, it's good stuff here. So there you have it. Moyo, Heart and Soul. Top stuff. So we would come to the next album, which was released in 2011, and this is again another Japanese edition with a bonus track, and this is called The Road. So the bonus track we've got here is a track called Hikari, which is a lovely track. So we've got Secret Pond, Falcon's Wing, Negura, Wonja, Bohemian Concerto, Embrace and Surrender, Awakening, Touching Piece, Affirmation, and the title track, The Road. It's a good album this is. You can still buy this, but highly recommend you buy the Japanese edition because you get a bonus track. So standout tracks for me are Falcon's Wing, Hikari, Secret Pond, Falcon's Wing, Bohemian Concerto, and Embrace and Surrender. So it's a really good album this is. Not one that I go back to much, but still quite enjoyable nonetheless. So there you have it, The Road. Love this album, really, really good. So we've come to the next album, and this is a collaboration. This is a CD, DVD, and this is called Ulta and Vega, and this is Keikomatsui and Bob James. I'm not normally a fan of two piano players or two keyboard players together. I always feel that one keyboard player is more than enough, but what Bob James and Keikomatsui do here together is just absolutely beautiful. And you know, the DVD is great as well. It's like the two of them playing together on piano. It's a lovely album. So we got Altair and Vega, Frozen Lake, Divertimento, The Professor and the Student. So I imagine that's a reference to Bob James and Keiko Matsui. Midnight Stone, Invisible Wing, The Forever Variations, and Choreo from Kanitata BWV 147. It's a really good album, this is. Much better than I remembered. Nice. There we go. So it's pretty much Bob James on piano and Keikomatsui on keyboards, but they do switch over now and then. But it's a lovely album, this is. As I said, I'm not normally a fan of two piano players or two keyboard players, but Bob James and Keikomatsui do an excellent job here. And when you get two players like these two, you can't go wrong. So there you have it. Altair and Vega. So standout tracks for me are Altair and Vega, Frozen Lake, Midnight Stone, Invisible Wing, and The Forever Variations. Beautiful album, and I'm really hoping Bob James and Keikomatsui do another collaboration, because this is good stuff. And the DVD's good as well. So there you have it. So the next album would come out in 2013, but this is a Japanese edition, and this is Soul Quest. So this has got a bonus track, and it's got a DVD with a couple of music videos and a documentary. So it's a lovely album, this is. And we've got Dream Seeker, Black Lion, Top Secret, A Night with Cha-Cha, which is one of my favourites, Moving Mountain, Antarctica, A Call to Action, the title track Soul Quest, Proof, Two Hearts, Stingo, and Soul Quest acoustic version. Really good album, this is. I think this is quite a big album, if I remember correctly. There's all Japanese here. Yeah, there's good stuff here. So we've even got guest appearances from Chuck Loeb, Will Lee, and we've also got Brian Doon on drums as well. So yeah, there's some big names here. So standout tracks for me are Soul Quest acoustic version, Moving Mountain, The Nights with Cha-Cha, Top Secrets, Black Lion, and Dream Seeker. And we've even got some guest appearances from Andy Snitzer and Kirk Whalum and Marcus Miller. So big names there. So there you have it. Soul Quest. Really good album. This is one that I do still go back to quite often. Now the next album, kind of like an album. It's a CD and DVD with a book. This is Keikomatsui Live in Tokyo. This is basically like a live show in Tokyo with Chuck Loeb and Kirk Whalum. So it's basically the Keikomatsui band with some guest appearances from those two. So it's a really good live show and one of my favourites. I still like Night Owl, White Owl, but I like this one just as much. So a quick look. So there we go. There's a lovely lady herself. A really fun show this is. Nice. So the band are Dave Carasoni on drums, Rico Belled on bass, JP Moro on guitar, and Tom Braxton on saxophone. So we got the rhythm section of the Ripkinsons virtually. Awesome. What a great show this was. Nice. So the DVD is well worth buying. So there you have it, Live in Tokyo. So favourite tracks of mine are Nights with the Cha-Cha, Antarctica, A Call to Action, Deep Blue, Forever, Forever, never get tired of hearing that. And Dream Seeker and Black Lion. But it's a great live show. And there's some bonus tracks on the DVD as well, so definitely worth buying for that. So there you have it. Keikomatsui live in Tokyo, CD, DVD. Top stuff. So the next album would come out in 2016. It's another Japanese edition. And this is Journey to the Heart. It's a lovely album. The standout track for me is Wings to Tokyo, which is like piano and guitar duets. That's the bonus track. It's a really good track this is. So I've got Blue Rose, Two Harbours, New Beginning, Havana Nights, the title track, Journey to the Heart, Casablanca, Butterfly, The Edge of Twilight, Carnival, and Moving On. Brilliant. So standout tracks for me are Wings to Tokyo, Blue Rose, Journey to the Heart, Butterfly, The Edge of Twilight, Carnival, and Moving On. So those are my favourite tracks. So we have a quick look. There we go. Nice. There's a nice shot there of the beach. Nice. So by this point, Keiko Matsui is, I wouldn't say she's completely moved away from New Age. It's still there, but she's now gone into more like smooth jazz, but still great music. So there you have it, Journey to the Heart. Brilliant stuff. And this is the last album that she's made to date. This came out in 2019, and this is called Echo. So this features guest appearances from Marcus Miller, Kirk Whalum, Robin Ford, and Kyle Eastwood, the son of legendary actor Clint Eastwood. So good stuff here. So all-star bands, Jimmy Johnson, Vinnie Colaiuta, Randy Waldman, and Brandon Fields, Wallflower. So we've got some big names on here. So as always, all the compositions are written and composed by Keiko Matsui. And standout tracks for me are Return to Eternity, E-Spirit, Unshakable, Moon Over Gotham, the title track Echo, and Invisible Rain and Spirit's Dance. It's a really good, fun, energetic album. So there you have it, Echo. Brilliant album. So the big question is now, which Keiko Matsui album do I consider to be the best ever? That's a tough one. They're all good. There's no weak albums. Obviously, there are some albums that are a little bit better than others. I do like the New Age period of Keiko Matsui's career. I think that was the best period of music that she ever made. Best live album, I would say, is White Owl. I love this album. I think this is the best live album that Keiko Matsui has ever done. You know, I love all the other live albums, but this for me is the best live album. But as far as the best album overall, it's a tough one, but I'm going with The Piano. As I've mentioned already, I love Keiko Matsui with the band and all those sort of things, but for me, solo piano is where it's at for her. This is where she's at her best, and this is a beautiful album and one that I continue to go back to the most. I love Deep Blue. I love Deep Blue solo piano, but this for me is the best solo piano album Keiko Matsui has ever made. And I hope she does more in the near future, because to me, that's where she's at her most classiest, elegant, and her very best. So that's my favourite album, Keiko Matsui, The Piano. Love it. So that's going to be it from me. I am going to wrap this up now. What's your favourite Keiko Matsui album? Is it The Piano? Is it Deep Blue? Is it Journey to the Heart? Is it A Drop of Water? Or is it Night Waltz? There's no right or wrong answer. We all have our favourites. Keiko Matsui's done a lot of fantastic recordings. You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. So until next time, take care everybody, and stay safe, and once again, thanks for listening.